Anne Frank, top of page 19. Mother's gone to Mr. Van Dan's to ask whether we can move to our hiding place tomorrow. The Van Dans are going with us. There will be 7 of us altogether. Silence. We couldn't speak. Without her father off visiting someone in the Jewish hospitals and completely unaware of what was happening. The long wait for Mother, the heat, the suspense, all this reduced us to silence. Suddenly the doorbell rang again. "That's hello," I said. "Don't open the door," exclaimed Margot to stop me, but it wasn't necessary, since we heard Mother and Mr. Van Daan downstairs talking to Hello, and then the 2 of them came inside and shut the door behind them. Every time the bell rang, either Margot or I had to tiptoe up downstairs to see if it was Father, and we didn't let anyone else in. Margot and I were sent from the room, as Mr. Van Daan wanted to talk to Mother alone. When she and I were sitting in our bedroom, Margot told me that the call-up was not for Father, but for her. At the second shock, I began to cry. Margot was 16. Apparently they want to send girls her age away on their own. But thank goodness she won't be going. Mother had said so herself, which must be what Father had meant when he talked to me about our going into hiding. Hiding. Where would we hide? In the city, in the country, in the house, in a shack? When, where, how? These were questions I wasn't allowed to ask, but they still kept running through my mind. Margot and I started packing our most important belongings into a school bag. The first thing I stuck in was this diary, and then curlers, handkerchiefs, school books, a comb, and some old letters. Preoccupied with the thought of going into hiding, I stuck the craziest things in the bag, but I'm not sorry. Memories mean more to me than dresses. Father finally came home around 5 o'clock, and we called Mr. Kleiman to ask if he could come by that evening. Mr. Van Daan left and went to get Miep. Miep arrived and promised to return later that night, taking with her a bag full of shoes, dresses, jackets, underwear, and stockings. After that, it was quiet in our apartment. None of us felt like eating. It was still hot, and everything was very strange. We had rented our big upstairs room to Mr. Goldschmidt, a divorced man in his 30s who apparently had nothing to do that evening, since despite all our polite hints, he hung around until 10 o'clock. Miep and Jen Geese came at 11. Miep, who's worked for Father's company since 1933, had become a close friend, and so has her husband, Jen. Once again, shoes, stockings, books, and underwear disappeared into Miep's bag and Jan's deep pockets. At 11:30, they too disappeared. I was exhausted, and even though I knew it'd be my last night in my own bed, I fell asleep right away and didn't wake up until Mother called me at 5:30 the next morning. Fortunately, it wasn't as hot as Sunday. A warm rain fell throughout the day. The 4 of us were wrapped in so many layers of clothes. It looked as if we're going off to spend the night in a refrigerator, and all that just so we could take more clothes with us. No Jew in our situation would dare leave the house with a suitcase full of clothes. I was wearing 2 undershirts, 3 pairs of underpants, a dress, and over that a skirt, a jacket, a raincoat, 2 pairs of stockings, heavy shoes, a cap, a scarf, and lots more. I was suffocating even before we left the house, but no one bothered to ask me how I felt. Margot stuffed her school bag with school books, went to get her bicycle, and with me leading the way, rode off into the great unknown. At any rate, that's how I thought of it, since I still didn't know where our hiding place was. At 7:30, we too closed the door behind us. Morchid, my cat, was the only living creature I said goodbye to. According to a note we left for Mr. Goldschmidt, she was to be taken to the neighbors who would give her a good home. The stripped beds, the breakfast things on the table, the pound of meat for the cat in the kitchen, all of these created the impression that we left in a hurry. But we weren't interested in impressions. We just wanted to get out of there, to get away and reach our destination in safety. Nothing else mattered. More tomorrow. Yours, Anne.